transfer because you came to the East Carolina Pirates. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
we're getting to that. So your first year, you're playing under Mike Houston, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I like Mike Houston. He came from George Madison. I mean James Madison, and they had big time winning seasons, championship seasons, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know if
Yeah.
you knew this, but you led the receivers in total receptions with 47. You led them in total yards with 622, and you also led with yards per catch at 13.2. You also had the longest touchdown that season with a 45-yard catch and one touchdown. Tell me about that season coming from Colorado, going through, part of the Dion process, coming off of an injury, and you go right to East Carolina, and you're the first, you're the top wide receiver. Talk to me about that, man. That's not easy to do.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to like you were saying, like the whole transfer process. When after the whole like conversation I had with Dion and stuff like that, I came back and obviously I was upset with everything because I didn't know what was next.
Right.
So I called my parents. They were telling me it will be good. They were mostly telling me like help my friends because I mean, like you were saying, like Jordan Tyson, we were very, very close. We were
Okay.
very, very close, and he was kind of going through the same thing. He had his knee injury at the time when they parted ways with him too, and it was a hard time for both of us. So my main thing when all that happened was helping my guys stay up and helping my guys like know that everything is gonna be okay. Like
Wow.
everything's gonna work out.
All right.
And like when I started getting the calls, actually my first call was from ECU.
Oh, it was. They were the first one to
Yeah.
contact you.
So
Okay.
my first
Okay.
official contact was Darrell Roberts, the receivers coach at
Okay.
East Carolina, and we just had a real conversation. He asked me what I was looking for. Just told him I was looking for an opportunity to play, display my skills and be developed.
Right.
Looking for a college town,
That's a college
passionate
town.
passionate fan base. I
Yep.
mean, ECU was like everything that I was looking for.
All right.
And then the other thing was I had actually got offered by BYU.
I
So
was
they
going to
were
ask you.
top.
Okay, not to cut you off. I hate cutting people off.
Yeah.
I was looking at that, and I saw where BYU came into the process, but I couldn't tell if it was in college or high school. Did they
Yeah.
contact you in high school as well?
No, so they actually contacted me after the whole Dion thing.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
So yeah, they offered me when ECU offered me, and those were the two schools that I was deciding between.
Okay.
So I had took an offer. I mean, I took a visit to East Carolina first.
Yeah.
My parents drove up to Colorado to Boulder, and we drove to Denver. Flew out of
Okay.
Denver straight to East Carolina, and
Okay.
then took my visit there. Loved it. Loved the people.
Yep.
Flew back to Denver. Drove actually 15 hours straight to Houston. And then the next day after we got back, the next day I went on a visit to BYU.
All right.
And when I went to BYU, I loved everything about it. I mean, the people were good, the
All right.
town was good, and I mean, money, the industry, all that stuff was good. Power
Right.
Five is right back.
Yep.
Everybody thinks that's where you want to be back. So it was really an internal decision for me where I was saying, Coach Roberts has my best interest. Coach
Okay.
Roberts has called me every day. He's checked up on me. He's checked up on my family. He's just making sure that I'm good throughout my days.
All right.
And that's just something that I look for, those personal
All right.
relationships. And I just had to make that decision. Like ECU feels like home, and that's where I felt. Like I felt
All
like
right.
that was home. I felt like it was calling my name. I just felt it in my gut. I had the gut feeling that was the decision that I needed to make. And I don't regret it at all. So I had a lot of people asking me like, why would I choose Greenville or ECU over, Provo,
Right.
Bravo, BYU, and it was just the people, and it was just the feeling. I felt more home. I felt more at home,
Yes.
with ECU. it's obviously considered the South still, and
Yep.
it felt like Houston a lot. Like the weather was warm.
Yep.
You'll have like days where it gets super hot, which never bothered me. Small town, like I was saying, college
Yep.
town.
Yep.
I actually watched the NC State game in from 2022, and that actually was like, oh yeah, like this is just as good as going
Yep.
and playing in Provo, like against the Utes or whatever. Like when you have that rivalry, because
That's right.
it's so passionate over there that it just equals out to everybody else. Like I really don't think that any other school in the state of North Carolina has more passionate fan base than the ECU Pirates for real.
That's
Like
right.
and
Appreciate
that's a
it.
fact.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying that to say that, like that's true. I mean, they'll get on you and they'll love you the next day. So like that's like real fans.
That's right.
That's just how it is. And I mean that's the reason I picked there over BYU. And yeah, I don't regret it at all. So
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. You're very productive. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know if you knew this, but as you talked about, it was a 2-10 season. Okay,
mhm.
but out of the 12 games, you led the team in receiving 6 of those 12 games. So half of those games you led in receiving. Okay.
That's right.
So my question, and actually you was the leading receiver 3 times in a row. Like you were leading the receiving team 3 games in a row. You did that twice. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay.
So tell me what's going through your mind. You coming from 1-11. Okay. You come to East Carolina. It's 2-10, but you're playing great. How are you dealing with that? Because you're successful, but the team isn't. How did you deal with that?
It kind of goes back to what I was saying about the whole baseball thing, being better every week. You know,
All right.
my first game that I played at ECU, we played Michigan. In the big house.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I think it was the second or third drive, I got knocked out. Like I got
Mm,
completely knocked out. Dude came and he cleaned me like bad. He cleaned me,
mm.
and I just remember waking up in a tent like this just can't be happening. Like this is not what I envisioned.
Right. Right.
And the next week, I told Coach Roberts like I need like to just get involved. Like I just need to touch the ball a little bit.
Okay.
So I could just feel it out and get back into the game because that was my first game back. Playing Michigan in the big house.
All right.
Definitely a culture shock compared to what we're used to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and I went into that next game. I think I had like maybe 20 yards or something, like something slight. Like it was very, very low.
All right.
And then like every single week I was just trying to beat myself. Like I was just trying to get more like better and better. Whether it was all right, this week I'm gonna make better blocks. This week I'm gonna run more efficient routes. This week I'm gonna catch every contested ball. Like it was always something that I was trying to beat.
All right.
And that went into practice. Coach Roberts literally told us like, if you want to be a pro, you got to live like a pro in everything you do.
Okay.
So I started like taking more accountability and like getting the extra reps in practice, going harder in every rep, treating it like a game rep. Like when I catch the ball, even though somebody might not be chasing me, I envision somebody chasing me, so I'm running and I'm, going for the end zone. So those are things that I actually practiced on. That when I got in the games, it wasn't like a shock for me because I had already done it a million times in practice,
Um.
and that's kind of what separated me, I guess, from I guess you could say like the other people, but not really because opportunity makes a big difference too.
All
Um,
right.
like who's getting the balls, getting targets and stuff like that.
All right.
But yeah, like I was saying, like the work I put in, I mean, it made me happy because the work that I put in wasn't for anything. Like it wasn't for no reason. And I
All
know
right.
that, and nobody sees the work that I put in, but in the back of my head, I remember the days where we were out at summer workouts and we had just got done running 300s and we
Mm.
out at OTAs running, doing 7-on-7 one-on-ones and stuff. And everybody's dead tired, your legs are dead tired, but you
All
got
right.
to get it. Like we got to get it. So I mean, I remember those type of days we're dreading those type of days, and I'm just out there like I gotta get through these days because one day it's gonna matter, it's gonna count,
Right.
and I just ever since then that's how I've been. I mean, every practice rep I get, I treat it like the game. And you could see
Wow.
that from the first time I got there, from the first year I was there to the second year. Like the first
Yeah.
year, I would catch the ball, and I would fall down, I would do things because I just wasn't comfortable yet.
Right.
And once I got to that second year, and I was catching it, and I was making those moves, I was doing things.
Yeah.
These were like practice reps to me, So these are things that I was doing every day, and I was actually practicing these things in the spring because I
Right.
knew last year that was something that I needed to work on. The run after catch. That's something that they're looking for. Like
You
a
did that
scout's gonna
well,
be
by the
looking.
way. You did that well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a scout's gonna be looking to see what you do with the ball after you catch it. So
Right.
I mean, that's something that I paid attention to, and I really like focused on that. And that's been my main thing, just finding that one thing to focus on and getting like almost perfect. You're not gonna be perfect, but try to
Right.
perfect it.
Right.
So
Yeah, and you was catching a lot with on double coverage too. I saw that in a lot of the highlights too.
oh yeah,
So I
yeah,
did notice that. So did with you being a top receiver for East Carolina, did the confusion between the quarterback position between Garcia and Flynn, did that affect you at all? Because they were going back. That was a big deal at East Carolina for a while.
yeah. I mean, it definitely has an effect. You see it a different ball from a different
Right.
quarterback. That definitely affects it. But at the end of the day, our coach told us you're a receiver. Your job's to catch the ball, so it don't matter who's throwing it. Your mom could be throwing it. You got to catch it regardless. So,
Right.
and that's just how I looked at it. So when Flynn came in after Mason, I just told him kind of, I got your back as long as you got my back. Like
Yep.
I'll make you look good and you make me look good. That's kind of the conversation we had. And
Yep.
Flynn had a 4.0. He's a doctor. Like
Oh,
Flynn Flynn
I
is
didn't know that.
yeah. So Flynn's not even like his mind wasn't even worried about. He just wanted to play because like he just has a love for the game and love for us. And
Right.
that's something that I could always deal with. I could always deal with somebody that's just gonna go hard no matter what the
Yeah.
circumstances were, no matter what they were put through. And both of those guys did a great job of that. And that's why
Yeah.
like I can't like discredit either one of them because
Right.
no matter like what the stats and what their play shows, like I know they were working hard. Like I remember Mason, we had literally lockers right next to each other, Mason Garcia. And
Right.
he would come in and like, let's go out to the field, let's go throw. Like that's the type of guy he was, but it just didn't work out, the way that we wanted it to, and it
Right.
happens like that, and you got to deal with it. We learn from it, and
Yep.
yeah. So shout out to both of those guys for what they did, and
Yep. I
I definitely
appreciate it.
appreciate them.
Yeah, you did good, and everything you're saying, I can back it up with stats because you did very well with both of them. You did a little bit better with Flynn, but you also did good with Garcia. So,
Yeah,
that's a testament to you and to them.
yes,
So
sir.
we're going to move a little bit into the 2024 season. So, but of course, you're coming off of 2-10. Did you hear any rumors that Coach Houston may be going? Because we as fans hear it because we read everything. Did you hear any of those rumors coming? During this off season, going into the off season?
Yeah, we had heard him like during the season, like during the 2023 season.
Right.
Like when we started losing, I think when we lost to, I think it might have been SMU. Oh no, 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 no. I think it might have been Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte, the homecoming game. I think we
Hmm.
started hearing a lot of rumors about it. But you gotta ignore that. You can't really
Right.
buy into the media and stuff. Like you see some of it, but I mean, we weren't really like worried about it. He wasn't worried about it. He would tell us kind of what was going on all the time. And yeah, so like we weren't really worried about it going into the off
Right.
season. We didn't really hear much about it because they try to keep us away from the media as far
Okay.
as like so they don't get as much intel on like our workouts and like what we're doing and stuff like that.
Right.
But we didn't really hear much on it. And I mean, I wasn't really like thinking they were gonna get rid of him. I wasn't like hoping they were getting rid of him or anything like that. So I mean, we just went into our off season, grinding. The
Right.
only thing that changed was, obviously we got those big time, Winston Wright and
Yeah.
Anthony Smith and Caden Hauser, all these guys came in,
Right.
and then JDB came in, John David Baker. Um, it was like, oh yeah, we're ready to go now. And I think that's the main thing that we kind of saw, and that kind of really like flipped the script. So
Hmm.
he came in with a different mentality. Um, that we're winning, we're winners. Like no matter
Right.
what, we're winners. Like a score does not define who you are. So like he would tell us that every day. Like we're winners, and everything we do, we got to win. And we took that to accountability. Everything that we did.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, Coach Houston, he brought in a great dude, great staff. So it was good.
All right. Well, luckily you came back for the 2024 season. Okay, so the first 7 games, ECU goes 3-4. Then they fire Mike Houston, so it actually happened. Okay.
Hmm.
Now you as a top receiver, how did that type of change affect you like that? Because that's during the season. I personally don't like it when it's done during the season,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as a player, how did that affect you?
It definitely shakes the team a bit, because it's a change. Like as players, we're so used to a routine. Like
Right. Yep.
you're so caught up in a routine as an athlete. Like no matter what sport, you have your routine. You have your
That's right.
I mean, even with the job, you have your routine. You have your when I take my lunch break, when I go
That's right.
and go home and check on the dogs, when I go home and do like these things. And when he wasn't there, it just felt like everything was different.
Mm,
Like everything was shook to where it's like, what do we do now? Like he's always been the person that kind of controls everything.
right.
So when we didn't have like that leader, I guess you could say, like that face, I guess it kind of shook us. But I mean, me having my coach fired my freshman year, I kind of knew how to deal with it. I kind
Okay.
of had been through it, so I kind of knew like what was going on, what would happen, like the interim head coach. Like I started talking to guys. Caden Hauser had the same thing happen with him,
Yep.
with Mel Tucker. So there was a lot of guys that had dealt with it, and we just, as those guys, like as guys that have been through it, we went to a lot of those other guys, and we're kind of just trying to help them deal with
Mm.
it. Because you have these guys that have been here since Coach Houston's got here.
That's
They
since he
came in
started.
with Coach Houston.
That's right.
So, I mean, those guys, it was probably way harder for them than it was for a guy like myself that came in last year or 2 years ago, whatever you want to say,
Right.
because I didn't get to build that full relationship with him like you guys did. So
Right.
those were our main things, like staying close to the team. Coach Harold came in, he did a great job of that. Like just, I think the first day he literally just let us all go to our position rooms, and we just opened up about how we feel. Does
Oh,
anybody feel a certain way? Like, are you upset? Are you distraught? Are you okay? Are you what?
okay.
Like, we just had
That's
real conversations.
like a
And
counseling session almost.
yeah, and that's
Hmm.
something like you need as a
Yep.
player sometimes, just to be able to talk. Like, because if you just go into the next thing, some guys still thinking about it. They're not
Yep.
all the way there at practice. They're not making the plays. So
Yep.
he just had those real talks with us, and was like, if you need anything, like tell your coach now, like let it all out. And that, ever since then, like Coach Harold, he did a great job of just keeping us all as one, and making sure that we just went hard and did it
Yep.
for each other at least. So
Yeah. Yeah, and you very good at this because we're going right into Coach Harold. So you all end up hiring Coach Harold. Well, actually, I'm going to say you all hired him because when I read up
yeah,
on the hiring process, it wasn't necessarily the administration, it was the players. Okay. And that's why I say you all have hired him, and you all, from what I read, you all liked as far as how he ran practice. It was a little bit more laid back, which kept you all fresh for the games. That was one of the things you all liked about him. Your quarterback, Caden Hauser, actually, sent out a text that he wanted Coach Blake to get the job. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see things like that. And I'm sure it feels good to a new coach coming in that you all accept him. You know what I'm saying? So what part did you play in as far as the players helping the new coach come on board? I think he left. I think he got kicked out. Okay, you back now.
Yes, I was wondering what
Okay.
was going on.
Yeah, yeah, you clicked out. Okay, we get right
Okay.
into we're gonna pick up where Coach Harrell ended up getting hired. Okay, but
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the administration hired him. I'm gonna say you all hired him because when you do
Yes.
your research on it, they were talking about how the players was really rooting for him to get the position. You all liked the way that he ran the practices, where he was a little bit more laid back and allowed you all to kind of be more fresh going into the next games. So I know that style makes
Yeah.
a difference. And then Caton Hauser even tweeted out, the quarterback Caton Hauser tweeted out that he wanted Coach Blake to get the job. So
Hmm.
what part did you play in that? Was you behind the new coach coming in as well? Like, were you very I mean, I know you said some good things about him, but you all recruited him from what the from what the media said. Take me into
Yeah.
that thought process.
Yeah. I mean, Coach Harrell. First of all, Coach Harrell is one of the greatest dudes. Like as a coach, as a person that I've met.
Right.
He's very genuine in everything that he does. He really has emotions to feel how we feel. He really wants to make that connection with us to see what's going on. And I mean, everything that he did, he was like, okay, this practice, like, we're gonna do this, but if you guys like, if it doesn't feel like, if I feel like you guys did a good enough job, then we're just not gonna do these type of things because I want you guys to be fresh going in. And
Right.
that was one of our main things when we played Charlotte. We played Charlotte. That was our main thing that we told all of our coaches. Every single position group had at least like 2 to 3 guys that told their coaches like, I did not feel fresh going into that game. I
Really.
remember like, I remember going into like warm ups. My legs just felt so heavy. Like everything that I was doing.
Hmm.
I had a drop the beginning of the game where we tried to throw like a double pass, and like I was running, but it felt like I was moving so slow that I wasn't catching up to the
Hmm.
ball.
Hmm.
When the ball got up on me, I didn't realize how fast it got up on me because it felt like I was running so much slower.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but that was like one of the things that we emphasized with him. Like we need to be fresh going into these games so we have a chance. Like if we're
Okay.
not fresh, then we're not going to be able to go and do like to the top of our abilities. And I mean, he took that and ran with it. I mean, some days he would tell us like, I mean, I don't even think we went full pads
Right.
for the rest of the season. Like, I don't even
Right.
think I put on my full pads for the rest of the season. We just had our shoulder pads, helmet, and then our shorts or our sweats, whatever he wore. But he really did a good job of that. And then the main thing he did was, like I was saying, the whole bond thing.
Right.
Another thing he did when we went into like our travel trips, like hotels, he would have like games out for us. They had the NCAA. They had that like we could play like the game against each other.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Oh,
we
the
had a
football
karaoke,
game. The football
yeah,
game. Yeah.
we had a karaoke machine. We had like cards, dice to play with,
Okay.
cornhole, and it was just a fun time, And
Right.
that was the time where I started really like connecting with a lot of guys and really started like just enjoying our time together because when you're at home and you get done with practice and stuff, you don't want to go and do anything. Like you're not
That's
really the
right.
only time you really bond is in the locker room, and
That's right.
when you're in the locker room, it's all about business. So
That's
I
right.
mean, we had those times to really have fun. It was a great time, and we took that fun and we just brought it to the field.
Yes,
And
you did.
when we went to the field, it was literally just go out there. It's like we were playing in the backyard on Thanksgiving Day.
That's
Like
so good to hear. That's
it
good
was
to
it was
hear.
just fun. Like the fun of the game like was so much fun. Like it felt like it felt like football again. Like it felt like it wasn't a job, like it felt
Right.
like we were just playing a game that we fell in love with.
Right.
And he made everybody's love for the game really come back after that big loss, and both of them really, the Charlotte and the Army game. Um,
Yeah.
to where I mean that brought all our spirits back, and we started just getting on a roll, and we had hope in everything that we were doing. And then we really
Wow.
just wanted to play for Coach Harrell because he
Right.
did all that stuff for us, and we were like, we're gonna
Paying
go
back.
all out for him. We're gonna go all out for him. And
Right.
yeah, he's a great human.
As an ex-player, that's great to hear that a coach listened to you all like that. And I'm gonna tell you how it made a difference. First of all, I was surprised that you all lost to Charlotte, and I watched that game, and you all did look kind of slow and lethargic. So I'm glad you explained that. But after that, you all won the next 4 out of 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. I know
Mm-hmm.
out of the next 6 games, you won the next 4 out of 5, and then you made the Military Bowl, which is great. Um, so you all turned the season around. Then you all made a quarterback change from Garcia to Hauser. Hauser went full time after that, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and then I mean, I can't say you took off because you was already doing good, but I don't know if you know this. There was a stretch where you led the team in receiving yards for 5 straight weeks, back to back to back to back to back. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you really had my attention, and then you disappeared on me, and I found out you pulled your hamstring.
Yeah. Yeah. I pulled my
Okay,
hamstring in the Tulsa game.
okay.
So,
That kind of hurt me. And then it's
yeah.
another thing. I follow a lot of ex Colorado Bus from week to week, and I
Mm-hmm.
kept saying that you're going to end up leading them in receiving at the end of the year, and then you end up getting hurt, and then the guy that was right behind you took over right at the end, the end of the season.
Yeah.
So it's all good. So we'll get through that. Now for your East Carolina career, you had 81 receptions, over 1,300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 100-yard games, 4 100-yard games in a row. And your best game, I think, was in 2024 against number 23 Navy, where you had 138 yards, man, and a touchdown
Yeah. Against Army. Yeah. Yeah.
against
Yeah.
Army. Yeah, that you was really balling. Okay, so that's East Carolina. Let me ask you this before we move on from East Carolina. Why did you think about, East Carolina has a top 25 baseball program?
Yeah.
Did that ever cross your mind to try to play with the Pirates?
Yeah, so they had to talk to me when I first got
Oh, they
there.
did.
They talked to me about playing,
Okay.
but we just never got it to work with the schedules. I know
Right.
Coach Houston didn't really like guys playing two sports at once.
Right.
Just so we could focus on one. And that wasn't like it wasn't a priority for me, so I didn't really like address it or like push the issue.
Right.
Well, not issue, but push it. But if it happened, I would have been excited about it. Even to
Right.
just go out there and pinch run, I would have been excited about it. But um, it definitely was a thought to go play. But I mean, their baseball team is
Yeah.
amazing.
Big
So
time. They
I
are.
mean, they were perfectly fine without me.
Yeah, year in and year out, they're ranked and they do very well. So I agree
Oh
with
yeah,
that. All right,
definitely.
so we're going to move you out of East Carolina. I'm gonna speed this up because you've given me an hour, and I don't want to take too much more of your time because I'm very appreciative. So, what you doing
Good.
so well for now? I think I know why, but I'm talking as a fan right now of East Carolina. Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
looking at your career. I'm just talking about as a fan. You did so good for us. You've helped us so much. Why are you leaving us? Why'd you enter the portal?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it just comes back to like, you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day.
Correct. Correct.
Um, it's just like, I mean, people think about football and they look at it as a game, and as players, this is our life, this is our job,
Right. That's right.
and if you have a better, if you just like if you had a better job opportunity
Yep.
and you had to move your family just for the best, you would do it in a heartbeat, and I felt like I had a lot of better opportunity that I could have been
Hmm.
used. Um, and not saying anything bad about the coaches or anything like that, but I just felt like I could have got a lot more opportunities from them than I
Hmm.
was getting. Whether it was getting the ball in my hand, whether it was the play calling, whether it was anything like that. I just felt like I just had to do what was best for me and my family,
Right.
and that was a big thing for me because these last 2 years, I mean, this is it.
Yeah.
This is besides my fate, and I really thought like that I would have thrived there, but I mean, me and Coach Roberts talked about this like nothing that happens after this, like after ECU or it happens at ECU, will define like our friendship or our relationship. Like I
Right.
still
Oh yeah. Of
text Coach
course.
Roberts to this day. Like he literally just texted me this morning
Right.
about getting up here and all those type of things. But I mean, he always told me like you got to do what's best for you
That's
and do
right.
what's best for your family. And that's just kind of what I thought. After the whole hamstring injury and stuff like that, some of the weight lifting and some of the weight like
Hmm.
training, some of the training was affecting some of those injuries that I was having. Um, a lot of my hips and stuff were getting messed up from some of the lifts, and that was what was causing like some of the hamstring injuries and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get into a program that was really gonna truly develop me, as a player and a human,
Right.
um, as a man. And then the opportunity, like I was saying, just the better opportunity for me. Um, I just wanted to go out. The offense that we run is a more fast tempo. I wanted to use more of a versatile, like more pro style type offense
Okay.
to show all my abilities. I felt like I could have been moved around a lot more in our East Carolina offense,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which I mean I did perfectly fine where I was, but my game, I think I could take it and elevate it way more than I was going to at ECU, and
Right.
it just my game didn't fit all the criteria of what came in, what
Mhm.
transpired, because what came in is way different than when I transferred there originally.
That's right.
So I mean, it's a whole lot of change, and I mean, it's just the same thing for every other guy. Even when guys were leaving, like when Tegan Wilkins left last year after the 2-10 season, I mean, I looked at him and told him like, "Hey, you gotta do what's best for you, man. Like,
Right. Right. Right.
I'm not gonna tell you like, oh, you're this or that for leaving, or you're dumb or anything like that, because at the end of the day, you don't know what anybody has going on. I mean, it's the same thing with the coaches. The coaches get a call that you could go make $2 million at this
Yeah, you're
school.
going to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, you would be up and leaving the next day. So I mean, it's just the whole thing, and with the whole transfer portal and NIL and all this stuff is just crazy now.
Yeah.
And that's everywhere. Even at ECU, like it's crazy. So
Okay. And
I
you
mean,
just
that's
got an
kind of what
NIL
kind
deal
of.
too, if I'm not mistaken. You just got an NIL deal,
Yes,
didn't you?
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So I'm watching. I'm watching. I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm watching. I got, and again, I'm gonna speed this up because I don't want to hold you too long.
Oh no, you're
Um,
fine. You're
yeah,
fine.
but now I will say this. I'm not saying this just because we're talking, but I saw your yards at the end of the season, and I personally think you can be 1,000 yard receiver if you want me to be honest. You know what I'm
That
saying? When I watch how
that's
you
kind of
play,
the reason. Yeah,
see,
that's kind of
see,
the
see.
reason I,
So that tells you I know what
elevate.
I'm seeing. I know what I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
nah.
Now,
I mean,
let me
if
say,
people that really, pay attention and really keep up with what's going on, or
yeah,
are gonna see and not be naive to it.
yeah.
But then, like some of the people that were saying the nasty, negative comments to me and my family, um, just about leaving the ECU Pirates or whatever. I mean, I don't really care. I
It's
don't
out of
really.
love, though. You do know that. It's out of love, man.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I know that if I wasn't important to ECU,
There you
then
go.
they
That's right.
wouldn't care. They
That's
wouldn't they
right.
wouldn't say anything at all. So
That's right.
that's just how I look at it. And I mean, those people, some of the fans or some of the people on Twitter that making some of the comments, I'm like, you guys aren't even ECU fans. Like some of the real ECU fans are happy for me, and they're really like
Yes,
telling
that's
me
right.
to like go do what's best for me, go do what's best for my family. And
That's
I always will have love for East Carolina. Will always appreciate everything they've done for me, um, and will never take that for granted. I literally told somebody like I'll shout out East Carolina like on my draft day, because that's pretty much what
appreciate
started
that.
it. Like that's
Appreciate
pretty
that.
much what started it, because I mean without East Carolina I wouldn't be here. Without Coach Roberts I wouldn't be here. Like some of the people that I met some of my lifelong friends there.
Yeah,
Met some great parents, some great kids there,
yeah,
some kids that I've impacted their lives, and I mean I loved ECU, and I did. It
yeah.
was hard for me to leave there. It was hard for me. It was really
Yeah,
hard.
and I understand that, but when I watched you play, and like I said, I was looking at your stats, and I'm looking at the two top receivers, y'all both around 600 some odd yards. You can get 1,200 yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying with your talent level. But when you went into the portal, I'm gonna tell you what. I don't want to say you have arrived too early because you still have 2 years and a lot can happen. But when I
Yeah.
followed and saw who was looking at you that wanted you to come to their school, you had Iowa State, of course. I saw
Hmm.
Florida had interest in you.
Yep.
SMU had interest in you, Arizona State, Ole Miss. Uh, I mean, big time conferences, right? So,
Yeah.
out of all those schools, including the SEC, why did you choose the Cyclones? Why did you choose Iowa State?
Man, I'm gonna be so real. When Iowa State called, I was like, oh no, like I'm not going back to the cold. I'm not going back far away from home.
Okay.
My initial plan was to go back closer to home, somewhere warmer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I got here, I scheduled my visit, because they had just kept texting me and kept like asking what was up, and I was like, why are these guys so like interested in me? Like,
Right.
What is it? And I never really looked into Iowa State. I mean, I know they had a good season and everything, but I didn't
Yep.
really keep up with their offense or who they had returning, who they, the receivers they already had here, things like that.
Yep.
So when I talked to them, I got up there. Me and my parents, we were kind of like already blown away just by looking at the campus and stuff,
Right.
the town. But when I really got in there and started really talking to these people, I was so fascinated because they were all just so genuine. Like how I was talking about Coach Harrell is
Yeah.
literally how all these people are. Like the head coach, he talks so good about everybody and so like positive about everybody. And he has
Right.
a resume of guys my caliber that he's put in the NFL, you know, that he's developed into the NFL. Xavier Hutchinson. He just had a guy named Jaden Higgins that just left here.
Right.
Um, they had a lot of guys that came through here, but my main thing was who was going to develop me and who's going to make me like get to the next level. Who's going to help me get to the next level?
Right.
And when I went in, they had 2,000-yard receivers.
Yep.
Their offense is always based around the X receiver that moves around a lot.
Yep.
Um, and it was just like everything that I wanted. The only thing that was hard for me was being far away from home. And when
Right.
they told me like, we'll do whatever we can to make sure that your parents can get to any game,
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
man, like. And then my youngest brother, or not youngest, but my younger brother, he's a senior in high school, and he's going through his recruitment process.
East Carolina offered him, correct?
Yeah, so East
Yep.
Carolina offered him,
Yep.
but they had said they would do the same. Like they would take him in as a preferred walk on, help him with his eventually maybe
Wow.
earning a scholarship. They had two safeties, literally the same position that he plays, that were walk ons that earned a scholarship.
Wow. Okay.
And it was like, man, like y'all are great people, man. Like, and then we asked the questions like, so when things go wrong, like what's gonna happen? And they had told us like, oh yeah, one of the players for like the first 4 games, Jaden Higgins, he was struggling. He wasn't playing to like the ability that he wanted to play at.
Right.
And I guess like the coach told him like just keep throwing him the ball, like he'll get it right, like he'll get it right eventually. And that just shows the trust level that they have in their guys and who they recruit. And they don't just
Right.
recruit like the players, they recruit the character too. So there's a lot of guys here that are great people and that match my I guess you could say vibe. Like, like stay out the way, very like humble, very mature.
Right.
And it's just a great town, great people. So I mean, I love Ames. Glad
Yeah.
to be a Cyclone.
Yep.
Definitely miss my Pirates, but we'll always have those memories and always have that flag. So
Right. And we appreciate that. So, because I was worried that if you left, would your brother still come? So, I don't want to get too deep into that because he has a decision to make. But I was hoping he
yeah.
would come to East Carolina. But we'll leave it at State. It's been Hunt 919, Truth Sports. Ride with me.